Okay, y'all. So look, there's three forms. There's three quadratic forms. And they're written all the way on the right-hand side of the back. So we're going to have standard, root, and then vertex. And each form you can get certain information from easily. So the one that you did, that you listened to while I was gone, that was the vertex form, right? And that's the pink one at the bottom. And I'm going to come back to that one after I do the next two. So I want to start with standard form. There's a couple things you can get quickly from standard form. Several attributes that you're going to want. So first of all, what is the A here? It's the example I have. 1/2. So we have 1/2. And what's the B? And the C is the A value. The A value. If you look under standard, the A value, but it's on all of them, because the A is going to be the same on all three forms. If the A is positive, the parabola will open up. And if it's negative, the parabola will open down. So in this case, the A is positive, so we're going to open up. And so let's just think for a moment. If the parabola opens up, is the vertex at the top or the bottom of the parabola? Which would make it a minimum, right? If it opens down, the vertex is at the top, and that makes it a maximum, okay? The other piece of information that we get very quickly from standard form that we like is the y-intercept. And the y-intercept is always going to be 0 and my c value. And here's why. If I put a 0 in for x, for these two, all that's left is the c value to be the y-intercept. So my y-intercept is going to be 0, -12. So then the next thing that we can find pretty quickly is the vertex. And we can find the vertex by following the formula, -b over 2a. So in this case, I'm going to have -1 over, what's 2 times 1/2? 1. So this is going to give me -1. Now before okay, so the x that I just found, this is the h of the vertex. That is the h of the vertex. So if I want the k, or the y value, I'm going to take this value, f of -1, and I'm going to plug it back in my original equation. So I'm going to do 1/2 times -1 squared -1 -12. And can all of you please type that in your handy dandy calculator and get it in? What did we get? Chickens? What did you get? So we get -25 over 2. So my vertex is going to be -1 and -25 over 2. What are you sighing about, Roy? Why are you sighing? I gave you a calculator. Okay, French fries are gone. Yeah. That is very sad. Okay. Okay, any questions so far? So from standard form, can we find whether it's up or down? Can we find the y-intercept? And can we find the vertex? Okay, now, those are the main things, the main attributes we're going to get. We can find everything else, but these are the main things that come very easily from standard form. Okay? So, let's go ahead and fill in the rest. Does anybody remember axis of symmetry? Do you remember what it means? It was on the vocabulary. Okay. It's the what? Say it again. It's symmetrical. That's what's the most important thing. That's a great word to use. So I heard a couple of you saying why. I saw some of you going like this. But the most important, the reason that we like the axis of symmetry, I can fold the parabola on the axis of symmetry, right? And I get 3 points. If I have a point over here, I have to have one over here for free, right? So it's less work. We like smarter, not harder. So the axis of symmetry is always going to be the x value of your vertex, always. So we're going to have x equals -1. And you have to write it x equals -1. If you leave off the x equals part, then it's not a line. If you just put -1, it's just not anything. Okay. So I did ask, I know this says minimum, but because it opens up, it means the vertex is the minimum, correct? So the minimum is your y value. So what is my y value? And so, y'all, kind of a way to help you remember this. Look, the axis of symmetry is the x, and then the minimum is the y. Like they kind of go together, all right? Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is we're going to want the x-intercepts. And y'all, how do I find x-intercepts? What do I have to do to find the x-intercept? Nothing. We're going to have to set it equal to 0, and then what are we going to have to do? We just spent 3 weeks learning how to do this. Oh, thank God. Factor. We're going to factor. Okay. So, everybody look right here. So we're going to factor, right? I need to factor to find my roots. So I'm going to set this equal to 0. So if I set it equal to 0, actually, let's leave the y. How am I going to get rid of, how do I get rid of the 1/2? All right, so I'm going to multiply straight through. So I'm going to have 2y so we have this. So the next thing we're going to do is this thing. So my a times c is going to give me -24. My b is 2. And so the factors I'm going to choose are 6 and -4. Yeah, y'all, I just skipped it because there's not room there. Where's my mouse? Okay, so the last thing I want to do, I want to get the y by itself. So what do I have to do? I'm going to divide by 2. Now, what's the number that's in front right now? So if I divide by 2, what's going to be over here now? So I'm going to get y equals 1/2 x plus 6 and x minus 4. And y'all, this right here, this is called root form. And it's root form because I can get the intercepts, but what I want you to notice is what's the a value? What was the a value in standard form? And if I had vertex form, the a value would also be 1/2. They're always the same, okay? So, form, and let's fill in our x-intercept. So what is my x-intercept? If I set this equal to 0, what do I get? Negative 6, and then 4, 0. Our roots are negative 6 and 4. Our zeros are negative 6 and 4. And our solutions are negative 6 and 4. So x-intercept, you have to write it as a point, right? We have to write it as a point. But roots, zeros, and solutions, we can all just write the x of it, okay? All right, so now we're going to do your very least favorite thing, and we're going to graph. Yes, we are. And you're going to smile and have fun. We're having fun. Okay, first thing, everybody go ahead and put the x-intercepts on here. Okay. Okay, y'all, before I move on, can we look real quick? So I have negative 6 and 4. Let's say I just had my roots and I wanted to find the vertex. If I have these two, what do I know is true? It would have to be in the middle, right? Because you have to be able to fold this in half. So even if I didn't know the vertex, we do know the vertex, but if I didn't, if I fold this in half, what would have to be the x value? Negative 1. Is that what we have for the x value? Negative 1. So this is where my axis of symmetry is. And now, we don't like graphing it because it's negative 25 over 2. Y'all, what is negative 25 over 2? Negative what? 12 and some change, right? Is it almost 13? It's like in between negative 12 and negative 13. So it's off of the graph, it's below the graph, which will be down here. So my graph is going to go, I'm going to have a hard time doing the recording, but up. Okay, so the next thing that's on our list, we have increasing and decreasing. So first of all, remember, we name increasing and decreasing with our x values. So, am I increasing or decreasing? I am decreasing. And so I know I'm decreasing from negative infinity to what x value? Negative 1. So I'm going to decrease from negative infinity to negative 1, and then increase from negative 1 to infinity. The domain of every parabola every time is negative infinity to infinity. The range is going to go from the bottom to the top. And what did we say the k value of our vertex was? This is root form. That is your root form. What is the vertex form? What do I need for the vertex form? A, do I know A? Do I know H? Do I know K? So can we write the equation? We can. So we have y equals, what did we say A was? 1/2. And then we do x, and what was our A? X plus 1 squared minus 25/2. So just by the name, y'all, just by the name, what do you think we're going to find with root form? The roots. So look at this. What do you think my roots are? So what is the actual root? 7 equals to 0, we get 4 and -3. So, oh my gosh. So all of these are always the same, right? The only thing you have to make sure you get x-intercept, you have to write them as an intercept. Okay, thank you. Okay, so I have these now, and so root form, clearly roots are what we can get from root form easily. That's the attribute we get easily. So let me ask you, what is the A value? So which way does this parabola open? Up or down? Down. Okay. So if it opens down, the vertex is going to be a maximum. Okay. Now, can we go to the graph? Can we put 4 and -3 on the graph? So once we have the 4 and the -3 on the graph, what can I find? I can find the axis of symmetry, which is the H. And so what is the axis of symmetry this time? It is 1/2. It's a half. Oh, no, we need the case. Oh, okay. Yeah, I did close it. I'm already thinking we're done. Okay. So, this is my H. And this is my A. So I need my K. So take your little handy dandy calculator and plug 1/2 in here to find the K. The X. I don't know. Why would it stop doing this? It's -5. That's not what I got. 49 over 6. I didn't get that either. I got 49 over 16.
Where'd you get that? Wait.
What did you get me?
I got 49 over 16. Y'all, hey. I took the 1/2 and put it here for X and typed it in a calculator. -1/4 times 1/2 minus 4 times 1/2 plus 3. And if you actually push the buttons correctly,
Miss, I got -187.
you can't even push the buttons right though. It's like no hope.
Don't go. Miss, I got the answer too.
Did you get the answer?
Yes.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
I didn't even think of it.
think we've established that I actually typed this in the calculator correct. It is 49 over 16. So if my axis of symmetry is 1/2, what is the maximum?
49 over 16.
It is, but what else do I have to put?
Oh,
Y. Okay? Then I need the y-intercept. How do I find a y-intercept?
It's the 0.
But we're not in standard form. But the 0, right? Could I use the 0 to find the y-intercept? Okay, so you're gonna have to get the 0 in the right place. Okay? So I get negative 1/4 times a negative 4 times 3. 0 plus 3 is 3. Even I can do that one. And what do we get? 3 is correct. Okay. How many of you are okay so far? So we've got roots, we figured out about the a value, we talked about if you got roots, finding the x. If we're in standard form, we're going to do negative b over 2a. Everybody is hunky-dory so far. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do before I do the increasing, decreasing, I want a graph. And what did we say the 1/2, okay. So 1/2 and 49 over 16. Y'all what is, just on your calculator, 49 divided by 16. What is it? Like 3 point something, right?
It's 3.065.
So, so it's like right here.
I'll take
Correct?
those.
So, we're going to go this way. When I start, am I increasing or decreasing? So from negative infinity to 1/2, I'm increasing, and then from 1/2 to infinity, I'm decreasing. What is the domain of every single parabola every time? Yes. The range this time is going to be bottom to top, and so the bottom is negative infinity to the k value of your vertex. To the k value of your vertex, and the k is 49 over 16. We had vertex form, right? Did we write the vertex form or not? No. Okay. So first of all, for vertex, I said I think I started it. We have the A, the H, and the K, right? So when I write this, I'm going to have y equals, the A is negative 1/4. The K, we said the K is 1/2, is that correct? Am I right? Yeah. Squared plus 49 over 16. Yeah, this is as hard as it gets. Like I'm doing the fraction one. This is as hard as it gets. Okay. Standard form. I want to go back to my root form. Okay, so x minus 4 times x plus 3. To change from root form to standard form has no parentheses. So you have to get rid of the parentheses. And we do that by multiplying. So I'm going to leave the minus 1/4 here. What's x times x? and then I'm gonna have negative 4x plus 3x gives me minus x minus 12. I multiplied, y'all, I
Where'd you get
multiplied.
the extra?
Y'all, negative 4 plus 3. Yes. Negative 1x. Do I still have parentheses? So is it in standard form?
No.
How do I get rid of it? Multiply by the negative 1/4. So I'm going to have negative 1/4 x squared plus 1/4 x. And then it's going to get pretty tricky because I'm going to do this in my head. But 12 divided by 4 is going to give me 3. Okay, so there's your standard form. It is. Okay. Okay, so this is our standard form now. Okay, y'all, any questions on this? Alright, so go back to the one you listened to that you filled in, the vertex form. Okay. Y'all, so for the vertex form, I know you have it filled in already. So, y'all, do you have any questions on it now? Like, now does it kind of make sense? Why is it blank? Does anybody else have any questions like they didn't understand from the so I can answer them at yes.
Explain me the one that has
Okay. Before I go back to that, nobody has any questions on the vertex form? Everybody's okay? So does he. I'm going to go back to the root form. So what's your question? Okay. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to answer his question. So, on root form, when you have the two roots, right, you see where those came from, right? Okay. So, what I'm looking for now is the vertex, but I have the roots. I know that if I fold the parabola in half, that is going to be on the axis of symmetry. So what we're doing is we counted, and we found the halfway between these two roots. And if you find the halfway root, it gives the halfway mark, it gives me my x is 1/2. And then I took the 1/2 and put it back in the original equation, and I found the y that matches it. Okay, and you were asking about the y-intercept. So the y-intercept, if I go all the way back up here, the x's are 0 for the y-intercept. So what I did is I wrote negative 1/4, because that's right there. If I put in 0 for x, I get negative 4. And if I put in 0 for x again, I get 3. So I get negative 12 divided by negative 4 gives me a positive 3. Any other questions? No? Okay. Tomorrow, we're going to do the 2,000 maps in class to go with